Hey y'all, I picked this cold, wet day to install a CB antenna mount on my Silverado. I just started getting things ready and I stopped and said, let me record this because there may be some people that aren't aware of these or aren't really sure how they connect. These mounts can be kind of generic, where you have a lot of ways you can mount them, or they can be vehicle specific. This is one of the vehicle specific mounts, and it's for the 2002 to 2007 Silverados. And it mounts, well, it mounts in here like this. This comes out the other side. It'll make more sense when I take this out and you can see it. What we're going to be mounting to the top of this is a 4-foot Firestik. And the cable we're going to use has what's called a fire ring on it. And the fire ring, instead of your cable coming up through the bottom and you having this long amount of cable that you got to deal with and figure out how to get out of the way, it comes in, it's round, and it fits through the bolt on the bottom, and it's at a 90-degree angle. So everything's going to be nice and neat and flush and out of the way. And in doing this, I'll just kind of show you how I'm running it and where I'm wiring it. Everybody's got their own ways to do that, but it doesn't ever hurt to see how somebody else is doing it, maybe give you an idea to act upon or improve upon. So let's take a closer look at this. Okay. Here we go. Of course, this is our hood. This is the top of the truck. This cut just comes down in here, and you see this. Try to get my hand where it's not in the way. See that hole in the top of the underside of the hood right there? That's where this hole mounts up. It just slides down. You line those two up, and then you bolt it to it. That's it. Now, something to consider before you start doing all of that. Go ahead and get it attached, but you're going to have a hard time attaching the antenna because this is going to be in the way. So what you are probably going to want to do is go ahead and get your antenna mounted to this first. Slide it down, feed the bolt through in here, tighten it up. Same goes with this ground mount. It'd be easier if you went ahead and had your wire crimped in here and screwed down before you started bolting it down. Another thing is probably going ahead and running your wire through the firewall, and I'll show you how I did that. All right, let's peek down in there and show you where I'm bringing my antenna wire out. You see this wire right here. That's just all I did. Now this is where the video started, or where I decided to start doing the video. I did this, I said, hey, wait a minute, somebody might want to see this. So this is just a clothes hanger that I sharpened the end of. And what I did is I used it, this thing will let me focus, I punched it through the double grommet that takes all this wiring through. It's just an easy, and with pushing it through, now I've got something to pull my antenna wire back through. Okay, this is where it gets hard to see anything, but you can see, there we go. There is the feed grommet right there, and you can see my clothes hanger poking out, or I'll try to, there it is. See it hanging out? You can just run your antenna wire through there, punch it through, and then just take you a knife and slit it just a little bit so you'll be able to ease the wire through. You don't want to cut it too much so it'll stay sealed. And here's the fuse panel inside the cab. we're just going to run our power line up from behind up in here. And then we're going to use what's called a fuse tap to supply power to the radio. If you're looking at it like this, that top fuse, it will be the fuse for the CB. The bottom slots, whichever one I choose to remove down here, I will put it in that slot, and then I plug this in, and I've taken care of everything. It's a nice, clean way to wire everything up. Here's a closer look at our mount, including leaves I have trapped back in there. That hole right there, and this is where we're going to line up, bolt it to your truck under the hood. Now, I'm a double redundant kind of ground guy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this here, that bolt hole. So when I bolt this up, I get a good ground on this mount. I'm also going to run a ground wire from here to one of my existing grounds up under the hood. You could just do it to any bolt that's connected to metal or do the same thing. But, so you have a better view of what that looks like and the plan and the intended plan. And just for ease, the first thing I'm going to do is run my antenna wire through so I have it up and it can be connected to the antenna, and I can be finished with all of that. Here's a nice thing about this stuff right here, about this particular brand of cable. You can unscrew this, so you only have to pull that through. You don't have to have a huge hole. When it gets back through, of course, you put all this back on and you're ready to roll. After you get your cable in ready to pull up, I just put a little bit of grease or lube on it, and back in here, the mark, just cut like an X in your hole to help it ease on through. Do that on both sides and just pull it through. One of the things you're going to find you have trouble with is feeding this bolt in through that hole. So what I'm using a wire to hold it back, and I'm using a little wire in the front to pull it through so it can't move. Then I can use that same wire to pull it through the mount when I get it ready. And here it is, pulled through, ready to go. So I've got the wire, I've got this wire holding it so it can't fall back through, and I've got this wire that's attached to the end. It's going through the hole of the bracket. Then what I do is just pull it and snug everything up till I can get a bolt on it, the washer and the little washer and the little nut, and then we can get a wrench back in there and hold it and tighten everything up. But this, probably this and pulling the wire through the firewall are going to be the most aggravating thing. Well, it is a new day. Rain started coming down hard and fast, and just had to button things up real quick. Let me show you what we've done quickly. I've run a grind wire to an existing ground on the firewall. I brought it underneath frame support or hood support to our mount. Of course, we've got our antenna wire running down, and we've got it going into the, you see it here, it's not going to let me focus, but there's that underneath this, that big round grommet going through. Now, this mount, it's on well, but I will say this, it is character building, because you barely have enough room to get a wrench behind here, and when you're going to tighten this up, you're doing those little quarter or half turns. I couldn't find any good way around that. That's just how it is. make sure that when you run this antenna wire up, that when you close the hood, here we go, you want to make sure you've got a little bit of give. You don't want to get it so tight that it's pulling on this. Now, let me explain this mount a little bit. There's the fire ring I spoke of. And they gave some pretty good instruction that come with it. And this is how I chose to mount mine. And as you can see, I mounted my fire ring on the bottom. So what you do, on the fire ring, there's a little bit of, it says raised nylon lip. You want to make sure if you do it on the bottom, that's faced up because you want that insulating right in here. And with the existing clamp, you're going to be removing an additional one of these nylon rings and a washer. It's unnecessary. Anyway, that's how we got it mounted in. Got it tightened down, got it run inside, and show you how I'm gonna connect in the hot wire up. Things I have learned while attempting to quickly film this is, one, I need probably a little bit better plan and preparation, and two, there is no good way to film a lot of this because you can't set it up on a tripod and explain. There's not room like between the door and this. So again, here's our wiring from our CB. I'm grounding it here. And remember, I talked about using the fuse tap. Using the fuse tap. The fuse that you see right here, that is the fuse that's going to be controlling our the CB. And what we're going to use, where are we at? We're going to use this 10 amp accessory fuse. What you do is you pull it out. There you go. We'll pull that out, put it in here in that additional plug, then I'll plug this back in. And I'm back, and that's what we look like all plugged up. So I ran the wire underneath the dash, came out, and I'm mounting it right here. Well, we got it installed. Time will tell how it works out and how we like it. Again, this wasn't a CB installation video. It was just to let somebody know about this particular bracket, how to put it on this particular truck, maybe help somebody avoid a few head scratching moments. So right now, my goal is to go get out from underneath these trees and find me a spot where I can get this thing tuned in. So as usual, good luck with your projects and wish me luck.